Today I'm going to share the roadmap I was mentioning, and I wasn't recording it, so let me show it. This is our guidebook. This is a fully updated guidebook that's just been done maybe about 3 weeks. This is our internal process for going from not knowing who my niche is all the way. I'm going to walk through every step of that in today's training. So I will point out the gaps to you of what you might be stuck on, but that's what I'm going to be using. This is the process that we use with our clients. It's also what I use in my own business. So it is every step, and I'm going to emphasize in the right order because one step builds on the other. Then as soon as I'm done with this, Thais is going to take over, and very critical, because if you haven't built your business yet and you know what to do, I can tell you, number one is your mindset. You got a mindset problem that's keeping you from making decisions and being decisive and taking action. Okay, welcome to day 3. So today's the complete picture. It's going to be the step-by-step roadmap. Again, this is a much more casual session. Drop all your questions in the chat. We do have time. We're doing it on regular Zoom because we want to be able to bring you into, up and be able to talk and answer any questions so that you can implement anything we talk about today. So yesterday Thursday, I talked a lot about, my talk was about creating your own economy. What do you do to create your own economy? That was kind of like something that is so talked about right now, particularly, again, I identify as a woman 61 in that sort of what's retirement going to look like. But I'll tell you, when you're a coach, I can't even imagine retiring. Honestly, I can't imagine. I have flexibility in my own schedule. I get to do what I want. I get to make what I want. Like, I don't know why I would retire, but many people who've been in regular careers or maybe raise their children are thinking like, what is my exit plan? So that's what we talked about on day 1. On day 2, I talked about what it was like to become a coach. What does it take? And I'll just skip to the bottom line. If you are not a coach and you're here and you're thinking about being a coach, here's what I can tell you. There's no requirements, right? Your life experience, your knowledge, of course, certifications are beautiful. I happen to be certified. Thais is certified. But I would say more of our coaches are not certified versus certified. So they're certified by their own experience in life. They have been successful at conquering something, and that has made them qualified to help somebody else. So here we are at day 3. I'm going to walk through the process of what that looks like. So over the last 2 days, that's the cherry on top of your business. It looks like, wow, they got to speak. Like, that's it. Well, let me tell you what, that was just the top of the cherry on the top of the whole entire business, right? So the speakers had already built their business correctly, step by step. And again, in this session, I'm going to share with you the steps that they use. Now, I will give a little disclaimer here and say, I don't have time to share the summit process with you. I'm going to give you a small overview, but that's kind of like a whole little thing all by itself. Let me tell you. Our speakers made it look really simple, didn't they? They were so beautifully, they just eloquent and showed up like stars. You might be thinking, you got to write your talk, you got to show up at the summit, you got to present your talk. That's all. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to give you the background. Yes, they prepared talks. And this is definitely full credit to all of them. I'm just saying to you guys that saw the summit happening, and you're like, okay, that's it. I want to be a speaker. Yes, they talked, but they created a freebie that you all have access to right now. They're dropping those in the chat. They are capturing emails. They created workflows, which is how you get the freebie and the follow-up emails. And then on Monday and Tuesday, actually Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., we are having a session with our coaches about what do they do next after they have delivered the freebie, sent what we call the nurture emails, maybe had calls with you guys. What do they do next? So there is a process in doing all this. Just a lot more to all of this than meets the eye of them showing up on the summit day. The niche work behind the scenes, every speaker had to choose a topic. And if you listen to our post-summit podcast series, which you can find on YouTube, those will be available starting Monday and Wednesday, I believe, of this week. They all talked about their niche and about how some of them had a niche already narrowed down, and that their summit talk even helped them take it just a little bit further. So you can't choose a topic unless you know who you're talking to. Really critical piece. And that was, again, you'll hear them talk about that in those post-summit talks. So how your person thinks, how they speak, what their problem they think, and I want to emphasize this, oftentimes your person thinks they have one problem, and we as experts might know they have really another problem. Okay. So we're talking to them the way that they talk, where they are in their personal journey, what they want. And this is all based on a very specific niche. If you went and were able to listen to the talks, you heard from Glenna, who was a Christian weight loss coach. Glenna has a 12-step process around people who are addicted to food. And you, by the way, are addicted to food if you can't seem to lose it and keep it off. But she's a Christian coach, so she weaves in, her faith. She leans on her faith as part of that. That's very specific. Charlotte is here, and Charlotte is a coach who helps women who either need to prepare for bariatric surgery or they've had it and they've regained weight. That is a very specific niche. So when we talk about niches and them doing the validation work and understanding how they should be speaking to their client, that's what I'm saying. They're both weight loss coaches, but very specific niches. So the messaging behind the scenes, simply put, the way that you talk to your coaching, about your coaching and to your niche client, there's what to say, who you're going to say it to, and how you're going to say it. Those are really 3 different things that you have to learn: what to say, who to say it to, and how to say it. There's a certain language that you have to know. There's the language that you know, and there's the language that they know. If you do not bridge the gap in between those things, there's going to be a disconnect. If you don't have any, clients, if you're not making any money, if nobody's responding to anything, there's a gap. Like you're saying one thing and they have another thing in their mind. This makes me think of our client Soul, who's on here, who does helps people who have executive dysfunction. So those of you who can't keep up with anything, who are missing deadlines, all that, that's what she talks about. And in one of her slides, she had a bridge, and it was like a bridge with over water. And it was like, you're right here and you need to get here. That gap in between is the communication that you're doing, in our case, with the person that you're trying to get to understand you. So here's some more behind the scenes that I'll just kind of fill you in on. Here's what you didn't see that happened in the preparation. The freebie was intentionally crafted to support their talk. So there wasn't one blanket freebie that everybody used. They actually created something that was a reflection of their talk. And again, you're welcome to grab the freebies if you have not listened to their talks. Still, those are standalone guides that you will get benefit from. The emails that followed that, those were all written, and they were written in a way that further delivered their message, that encouraged you. You guys should be getting those now, that encouraged you to understand what their coaching was all about and encouraged you to schedule a conversation with them. Those are all customized by our clients. The summit promotions went out from every single coach. This is a collaborative effort of all of our speakers doing the marketing together, and it was personalized and written for them. Every single coach, I'll just brag on our team, Thais, Christine, Nicole, and myself. We wrote emails, we did Canva graphics, we made a schedule, we taught them the technology. We did all of that so that they could then, in fact, have a business where they were able to market it and invite people to the summit, and that they knew how to do it. For many people, they don't know how to post on social media, and this was an opportunity for them to do that. So yes, there was Zoom webinar, which, by the way, if you haven't done Zoom webinar, this is not Zoom webinar that we're on. Zoom webinar was what we used the last 2 days. There's a whole process in doing that too. There's QR codes that you all scanned, which everybody's like, yeah, I know what a QR code is, but you have to link it properly. There's delivering the freebie, which is the process that gets the thing to you. It all seems so seamless, and it is, but it's seamless because they knew how to do that. So there's the free coaching sessions. By the way, if you've not had one of their free coaching sessions, there's even a format for that. Today, and I'm just going to tell you right now, in case you want to grab one of the times, I am offering a visioning session. you can go to debbieshadid.com/vision. For our coach clients, don't take any of those times. Tice and I are having a visioning session with you
money you put in
separately.
based on a formula.
Let me get everybody on mute. Everybody on mute. Hey, Tice, would you mind asking Christine if there's a way to change that? I don't think there is because the webinar was already started, but that would be great. So yeah, if you want to schedule a visioning session with me, that is my gift to you guys. But there is even a format for how to do those calls. As you're listening today, I'll just give you tell you what we're going to be doing with you. I'm going to go through the roadmap, each one of the steps. During our vision session, you can pick one of the steps that I'm going to cover today, and you can bring that one step and we can do some visioning around one of the steps. So email setup. So our speakers, some of them came with this knowledge. I will tell you, a lot of the speakers this time already had businesses. They already had email lists. They already had technology set up. Some were published authors. Some of the coaches didn't have that. They were starting from scratch. Like they didn't even know what their niche was going to be. They didn't have websites, any of that. But anyway, they put all of this together as part of the summit talk. So again, I'm almost done talking about the summit. I will go through the steps, but just to put into perspective what it takes to create an event like this. So we wrote the emails, created the social media graphics, wrote their captions. We also wrote scripts for them to go live, like to go live on Instagram, which most of you guys are like, I can't do that, but don't worry, we teach that too. We taught them the tech. We had a promotional schedule. We practiced together. They might have looked flawless yesterday, and I can tell you they were flawless yesterday and the day before, but they were flawless because they practiced and we reviewed everything. There's a level of confidence that they had to show up yesterday and on Friday because we'd already watched their talks. It wasn't like they were just going out and talking. We'd already watched it and said, that is good. And you're on point. Or we said, hey, this needs to be tightened up. So all of that was put together so they could have the best outcome. And I have to tell you, the outcomes are mind-blowing already. Within 10 minutes time, we actually have one client who's on here. She told me at the 28-minute mark that she'd already had 23 inquiries. And so you can correct me if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, that was all happening. And that's because it was all put together so that they could have the best outcome. I'm talking about either opting into their freebie or scheduling those free coaching sessions and or consultations if you already know you want to work with them. So our speakers brought the magic for sure. They shared their passion, their love for their niche, their expertise, their life experience, and more. I have to say it was our hand-holding that helped them, but it was their expertise that they brought. They are the ones that nailed it, and they nailed it because they were confident in knowing what they were doing. They were empowered. Our speakers put themselves out there and it felt safe. So for many of you guys, maybe you can relate to this. It's scary to show up on social media. It's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to send emails and feel like you're going to pester people. And that's one of the reasons why coaches don't do it. It's one of the reasons why they're not getting started. But when you're doing it in this collective way and you're representing this summit, you're not really saying, hey, look at me. It's like, come to this beautiful experience. You show up differently, right? You do it because of the collective power of this incredible event that we put together. And yes, they all book calls. The summit solved that too. I can tell you that our last summit, we had some people that had never, ever sold coaching. There's one client that comes to mind that sold her first 3 clients within just a few days of the summit. We had another summit speaker last summit who sold so many people, and this is going to sound funny, but she actually came to our coaching call complaining. And I was like, wait a minute, what are you complaining about? And she's like, I'm so overwhelmed. So that's a pretty fun way to do it. So they didn't have to chase people. All right. So maybe you're thinking, interesting. I know I'm already qualified. I have the knowledge. I've healed my body. Like, this is an example. I've been to hell and back and I've come out on top. All of that is your curriculum, right? Have you guys ever thought about that? All of that is already your curriculum. Okay. So let's talk about the roadblocks that you might have to your success. Many people, and I'm going to start on the roadmap next. Many people have never done marketing. I mean, seriously, you just wanted to be a coach and you're like, I didn't know I had to do marketing. If you don't have a clear message, your business is going nowhere. you might be talking to everyone and nobody is hearing you. Like I hear crickets. You guys feel that way sometimes too. A lot of times people will say, I think I'm the best kept secret. And yet you're putting yourself out there. Maybe you've been really inconsistent in all areas of your business. And I don't mean, I always talk about inconsistency in marketing, but like inconsistency is like, my niche is this one day, and the next day it's like, I think I'll do this. And the next day you're working on a course, and the next day, like you're tweaking your pricing, and you're never talking to anyone, right? You're actually not making any real, I call it an ask, a real, is this a yes or a no? Are you going to move forward with me? Yes or no, or no real invitations. And of course, we all know the turmoil that tech causes. Offers that are made on the fly. I'm going to talk about this, and I know Tice is going to talk about this too when we get to the offer section of this conversation. If you are making up your offer during the call based on what somebody else has said, you're not going to win. That's an offer that's made on the fly. You either have prices that are too high because you heard about high ticket coaching and you're like, I think I can do that, or you discount it out of desperation, one or the other. Those are the big mistakes. So let's go through the roadmap. Again, this is our roadmap guidebook. I'm gonna take all these pages and I'm gonna walk you through what it looks like, so that you can really see what the foundation looks like when you're building your business. Inside of our roadmap guidebook, there's a roadmap on the top. This is part of our Profitable Coach framework. We have a curated process. If you heard me talk on day one, I've been doing this for over 2.5 decades. I know what it takes to have people really in any business have success. My heart now, since 2021, is helping coaches. So nothing is done randomly, right? The foundation that's holding up the Summit Speakers businesses, it was put there before they started talking. One step built on the other. And if it's followed in this order, you end up being a Summit speaker that books some calls, really. So I want to pause for a moment. If you're squinting at that map, don't worry, don't panic. I'm going to go through every single step one by one, starting with this. Okay, the niche. This is where everything starts. And I'm going to tell you what, it is the single hardest decision that everybody faces. And it's where we like to have the most confusion, where we waste the most time. Most coaches, what happens is they get going in their business. They heard about niche and they're like, I'm just going to like, I heard I should narrow down. I just skip it. Or else you are talking to everyone. Like, I'm going to be a life coach for women. If you're talking to everybody like that, you're talking to nobody. That's why nobody is responding. A real niche means that you understand a person specifically, how they think, how they talk. Michelle is one of our coaches on here, and she helps families who have really troubled kids, like violent kids in the home. That is a very, very specific niche. She's a therapist who now does coaching. She helps around safety and really helping the parents understand the child. That's a very specific niche. She knows how to talk to them about what their biggest fears are. It's a very specific problem that is keeping those people up at night. I know when Michelle and I worked through her message, I was like, oh, it's keeping me up at night, right? You want to be crystal clear on that. If you're not, that is going to be the first gap. Okay. That's the first gap that you might have. Our speakers didn't have to guess on their niche. We have a blueprint process, and they validated it. And it showed up in every word of their talks. So I think the question is, again, asking yourself, how confident do you feel about your niche based on what I'm saying? Step 2 is authentic branding. Your brand has to speak about you before you do. If somebody lands on your page and they can't immediately tell who you help, why you're there to help them, this is a visual statement. I cannot emphasize enough. Branding used to be fun. It used to be like this fun thing that we got to do. And so creative, and it's a creative process. But in reality, you know what branding is? It's the thing that stops somebody and like that fast. That's it. I mean, it's crazy. You have to get people's attention in a split second. So if people can't immediately tell who you help and aren't drawn, that's the magnet to you. That's the gap. Our speakers had that dialed in. Do you have it dialed in is the real question. The third step, and I would say again, based on niche, and the second thing that people get the most wrong is their message. What do you say? Who are you saying it to? And how are you saying? how are you saying it? Those three things. What do you say? Who are you talking to? And how are you saying it? It has to be in the right way or this will not work. Okay. Most coaches fumble on this. Even when I love having conversations with people, like say consultation calls or coaches that I meet at networking events. And I'll say, well, tell me about your business. And they're so excited. And, they just start talking and blah, 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 like everything. And I'm like, wait a minute. I just wanted to know who you coached. I don't remember that. Can you guys relate to that? I remember I kept trying to explain everything and it took 10 minutes. Like you don't have 10 minutes to explain anything to anyone. People's attention span is like this long now. So if you are talking too long, you're fumbling on this one. If you're talking about yourself, I love you, but nobody cares about you, right? If I went to your website and said, hi, I'm Debbie Shadid, and that was the first page of my website, you'd be like, okay, right? It's not about me when they land on my website. It's about them. Okay. If you can't explain what you do in like a sentence or two, sometimes we even say like 10 words or less, you're not going to get anyone to say, oh yeah, I need that. So that could be your gap in step 3. Your message has one job. That is to translate the pain into possibility. Pain into possibility using the words that they say, not the words that you would say. This is a critical piece. When we talk about niche validation, this is all part of the process, is understanding and clarifying what people say, not what coaches say. If you don't have any engagement, if your social media isn't getting engagement, if your website isn't converting, I can tell you, you know what to look at right now, that is a key piece to what's happening. All right, step 4, social media. I know how y'all love social media, right? Everybody loves it. It's so funny is we have a coach. I don't think she's on the call yet, but she just because of the summit, she had never posted on social media, and she utilized our graphics. I think there was maybe about 10 graphics, and she told us on Wednesday on our last call before the summit. She said, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but I kind of am having fun with social media. So it really is fun. And I know it's impossible to believe that, but it can be kind of fun because right now you're not confident. Number one, like, do I know how to do it? I don't want to look like an idiot. Like when I post something, what if I post it wrong? I remember that feeling. Like I just looked at my reel that I did this morning. I was like, dang it, I know better. I started talking before we were live. So I looked back at the replay and of the thing. And like, I start in like the 4th word in before the video starts. Oh, well, I don't worry about that anymore, but that's a key that we would teach you. So I think that's why people don't love social media. They don't know what to say and they're not sure how to do it. And let's be honest, we all need some coaching around looking at ourselves, right? We don't love that. So, social media is not that hard, again, unless it's not that hard if you know how to do it. Okay.
Hey coaches, it's Debbie Shadid here. I've got something very special for you. If you're trying to figure out how to get coaching clients on your own and you're wondering what to post, how to explain what you do, or how to actually sell your coaching, this is for you. I'm inviting you to join me for a live edition of the Fast Track and VIP coaching experiences. This is your chance to stop spinning in indecision and finally take those actions that are needed to build a profitable coaching business. You'll get the answers, the guidance, the support you're looking for, plus real-time feedback on your niche, your offers, and your marketing. Spots are very limited and enrollment closes soon. Let's connect. DebbieShadid.com/schedule to claim your spot and to talk about your options. Let's get you clients faster and easier than you ever imagined.
Most of us dread it, right? The reels, the going live, the constant posting. And also, I'm going to look at that word constant, because when you are doing it, it does feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to get sick of me. But guess what? The algorithm doesn't even show my speakers that I want to give some love to and follow up with. I don't even see their posts, right? The algorithm decides who I get to engage with. So our speakers, they felt empowered by that. They weren't just doing social media randomly. If you are doing it randomly, if you woke up today or if you leave this talk and you're like, I got to find something inspiring, like I got to get inspired to post, there's a gap. It's not going to work for you. There really is. You can't just be inspired or look for inspiration. There really is a plan that has to be put into place. Then you'll feel comfortable. So social media is a tool, but I have to let you know it is only one tool. The question isn't if you are going to market yourself. It's not if, it's whether you have a way that works for you. I want to take just a moment. We actually have a coach on here who said, I am not going to be on social media. And of course I was like, are you sure about that? Because we want you to be on social media. She said, no, it goes, and this is our coach Soul, who is on here right now. You're welcome to call yourself out, Soul. Drop your phone number in there. Soul said, no, I coach women that are losing their mind from technology and social media, and I have to stay off social media, and I do that as an example for being in integrity with what I do. So she is building a business. I mentioned to you guys she had 23 messages back, and she wasn't even done with her summit talk yet, and they text messaged her. So we have to find the way that works for you. A lot of you guys aren't willing to do that either. You're not going to want to give out your cell phone. So the fifth step is offer design. So we have to know exactly what you are selling. That is not 6 weeks. A lot of times people will say, could I discuss my coaching with you? My offer, I need some help with my offer. It's 6 weeks. What do you think? And I always sound like a smartass when I say this. I'm like, I don't know. And I don't mean to say it that way, but here's the truth that I know. I don't know how long your offer should be. Unless I know how long our clients' offer should be, because I understand their business. I know what problem they're trying to solve. I know what it's going to take to get the problem solved. 6 weeks, what are you trying to solve in 6 weeks? So you have to be able to say, like, for example, our coaching is 6 months. I know our process takes 22 weeks. 6 months is 26 weeks. So there's a little flexibility there. I didn't just guess. It might look like, well, 6 months, that sounds like a good amount of time. No, it was based on the fact that our process takes 22 weeks. So you want to figure out the timing. So if you can't describe your offer, excuse me, that's going to be another gap for you. Again, your offer is not 6 weeks. Your offer is to solve a problem. There are details, just to be clear. I just shared a detail to our offer that we're going to work together for 6 months. It takes about 22 weeks to go through our process. There's a little flexibility in case you're gone, in case you're sick, in case there's a week. That's how I would be just able to describe how long we work together. All right, then comes pricing. And I'll tell you, this is where mindset and money collide. If your price is too low, you will not sustain a business. If your price is too high without the proper positioning, and I am going to say for sure, without the proper mindset, you're not going to sell anything. I absolutely can tell you from my own personal experience, I had 800 consultation calls and I made 80 sales. How many of you guys are worth? I talk about determined. I'm not bragging on myself, but I was determined. I had sold a business. This was the only business that I had. I had to make a living. There was no option. Am I going to go to work for somebody else? It was like, no, I'm going to figure this out. What was the gap for me? The difference between only making 80 sales out of 800 consultation calls. You know how long that took, you guys? That was like 18 months of consultation calls to get 80 clients. It was the price. That was the gap. I had the price wrong and I knew it, but my coach was telling me what to do. And I was saying, I don't know. So there's a lot of sort of mindset work that goes around pricing. Again, if you don't have your price right, that's going to be your gap. I'm going to bet you know what your price should be. And I don't think you should compare it to anyone else. All right. Step 6 is content planning. So I talked briefly about social media. And one of the ways that people have felt comfortable on social media, and maybe comfortable isn't the right word, maybe they've decided that they would at least do it, is because they have a content plan. They know what they're going to talk about. There's no like on Monday morning, what am I going to post? They don't have to look for inspiration. They're like, okay, Monday, this is what I talk about on my content on Monday. And I actually know what the post should be, like the 3 parts of the post. I know how it should be written. So they're not winging it. The plan, when you have a plan that connects with your niche, this is a critical piece. You need to know what Monday you're talking about, Tuesday you're talking about, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day of the week, what you're going to talk about. So if you're winging it on content, You're like, I like this idea. I like that idea. That's going to create a gap for you. Again, inconsistency. The seventh step is business systems. And I know this is where you guys are like, la, la, la. I don't want to hear about business systems, but here's the deal. There is so much misinformation. It goes all over me. The people, I love YouTube and I watch YouTube and I'm on YouTube. But there are so many people that are selling you client management systems. That's a CRM, client management system. You do not need one. If you are just getting started, that you just added a layer of complexity that you don't need. You need a very simple system. You don't need all of the bells and whistles yet. Like, let's get your business built. And most people, they can earn $100,000 a year without any of that. It literally takes your business complexity to a different space. And just do me a favor from this point on, when you are listening to somebody teach you about a piece of software, make sure that you're filtering it from their point of view. I hate to say her name, but there's a lady who teaches about email marketing, and she's wildly successful. And I've taken courses from her. But what she's teaching about email marketing is based on the fact that you already have a big list. So if you're watching her webinars, which I'm pretty sure everybody here would know who she was, the gap for you is she's talking to somebody who already has a big list, and this is how you do it. She's not specifically saying that, but you don't need to do what she's saying. You need to figure out how to get your first email subscriber. So again, make sure that you have your business with the right technology, that you have things organized. I mean, how many of you guys have sticky notes all over, right? Organized. If you have those things unorganized, then you have a gap. I just glanced over for a moment at Charlotte and she was like shaking her head. I don't know if it was about that, but okay. Email list growth. And again, I'm just going to say this. A lot of you guys are like, I don't want to be the email person. Okay. But here's the deal. If you don't grow an email list, you won't have a business. You just will not have a business. Now, I know if you attended the summit the last 2 days, you heard me talk a lot about, okay, go to your promo folder and find my email or find or your spam or your trash, and please move it over to the primary folder. And please do that for me, please, because we're sort of all in a battle right now with our emails. Google or whoever you use has kindly decided to sort out the things that you sign up for and put them in the promo folder or the spam folder, even though you signed up for it. They're trying to be helpful, but that's a problem. But despite all that, if you don't have an email list and social media goes down tomorrow, you don't have any way to even get a hold of anyone. I mean, seriously, this is a big gap. And I know it's like social media never goes down, but it has gone down. I've been in business 25 years. I know it does. So if you don't have an email list and you don't know how to email people, there's a gap. All right, email marketing equals clients, period. Again, if the thought of emailing people feels awful, that's a personal problem, I have to tell you. Honestly, most people don't like email marketing because they don't know how to do it. I will say that the revenue that I have earned in my business, if we were to go back and backtrack, and I know I did this at one point, and the number one revenue generator was email. And I know you're like, how could that be? But you have to be able to communicate with people. I have to be able to communicate with you to get you this link. That's email marketing. All right. Number 9 is marketing for coaches. Now, you might not have a list. In fact, most of you don't. You might not have followers or very many, 100 followers. You might not have any audience. You might not have any money for ads. If that sounds familiar, all of our speakers, and I'm going to just say every client that I work with basically starts at that. They might have a small list. And we did, again, just to give kudos to some of our speakers. We actually did have some speakers that had a couple thousand people on an email list. One other coach had 900. We had coaches that already we had a coach that has a wildly successful business already, but there still is gaps in here. So nobody was running ads. And if you are running ads, you're not ready for it. I'll just tell you that. Marketing is your money machine. I call it your ATM. And marketing does not require paid ads. In fact, I do not teach paid ads. Now, I run paid ads, but here's what you should know. Again, my business is at a different place than your business. Just like what I was saying, like the software, the client management systems, those people's business is at a different place than your business. So none of our speakers ran ads. They use free marketing as a part of their system. I can tell you for sure, our coaches that have come to me, and one of our coaches that you heard from at the summit, she did run ads this last fall. She worked with an ad agency, and she spent thousands and got zero out of it. So if you don't have all the all the pieces in place, it won't work for you. So if you're not marketing consistently, that's the gap. Marketing is absolutely required. Now, finding the place like Soul, I'll use Soul again as the example. She's going to market via text. So that's different. Every one of our clients has to find that the way that they feel comfortable doing it. There's actually somebody on here, a guest speaker on here, I think she's still on here, who told me that she has grown her business, and I don't want to say her entire business, but through being guests on podcasts. So you have to find the way that works for you. All right, step 10, authentic selling. I am so against all the bro marketing, all the arm twisting, I teach authentic scarcity. So this is scarcity that is based on the truth of the situation. I'm going to tell you at the end of today, when I'm done, or I'm telling you right now, I don't have hours open on my calendar today, and I'm going to offer you that vision session, which is not a sales call. It's an opportunity to cast a vision on one of these steps that I'm sharing with you. It's a 30-minute session with me. It's a free session as part of the summit, just like our coaches gave. I don't need to arm twist people on what I'm doing. You want to find the people that are actually the right people to work with, okay? You want to have honest conversations with people. Yes, what I'm going to do is today I'm going to create some authentic scarcity by saying, I'll use this as an example, by saying, I don't have my calendar open today, but I am willing to meet somebody. If you want this time, please tell me in the chat. I will meet you at 12:30 Central today. If somebody wants that time, put it in the chat. Once the 12:30 spot is filled, I will meet somebody at 1:30 and 2:30. So I did not open my calendar today until 3:30 because I didn't want to get a call at 3:00 and have to sit here from 12 until 3. So that's an example of, I would say like, I'll open my calendar for you today. That could be authentic scarcity. It is true. But what I'm telling you is what's behind that. Like, it's because I really don't want to, I want to go see my grandkids if I can today. But I also know there's people here that the only time they'll be able to have their vision casting call with me is today. So, okay, our summit speakers, they have calls booked, not because they chase people, but because the system that we had designed brought people to them. If getting calls booked is your biggest struggle, that's the gap. If you guys don't have any calls booked, that's a problem, right? You can't even have conversations, even if they're free coaching calls. If you don't have anybody interested, we have people that will come to me on a consultation call and they're like, I even offer free calls and nobody wants them. I remember that, you guys. Have you done that? Like, nobody wants my free call. That's a gap if you can't book a free call. So no sales obviously equals no business. This is where, I have to say the harsh reality to even people that have come to work with us. It's okay to decide that you're going to quit. And I don't want anybody here to quit. But sometimes we have to realize like, whoa, I didn't know building a business was like this. I love coaching. And I say, let this be your hobby. Let coaching be your hobby. If you want to make an income, like I talked about yesterday, like 5 people at $500, which is very reasonable, makes you $30,000 a year. And if that would make a difference for you, and I didn't say 100,000 or $1 million, you could get to that. But if you want that kind of business, that's doable. But if you're just having fun being a coach, then just own it. Like, I love to learn about coaching and I love it. I love coming to summits. I love coming to these things, but don't build a business out of that. The 11th step is to plan for success. So you do have to have a vision for your business. And so many people, it's like their vision is, I just want to work with a lot of people, or I want to make $100,000. It's like, okay, Tice, our mindset coach, when she came through our program, she's like, I'm going to make $100,000. And to be fair, at our coach school, that was like the goal. We got an award when we made our first $100,000 in our first year. We literally got to go on stage with a Tiffany award. So there was a lot of behind that $100,000, and it was great that we did that. But Tice had that vision, like, I want the $100,000 award. I think that's correct, right, Tice? But once she got it, she was like, oh, I don't think I want a business like that. Like, I didn't consider my kids. I didn't consider what I really wanted in my life. I forgot what my kids looked like after that year because I didn't see them. So if maybe you need to consider what it looks like, that's what casting a vision for your business is today. And I love talking about Thais when she doesn't, have a word to say right now. Today, her goal is to pick up her kids at school. She left during the summit talk, during one of the talks yesterday, and picked up her kids at school. That's a priority. She learned that priority because now she has a vision for her life and her business supports that. So if you don't have a clear picture, there's a gap. So you guys might find yourself in jail already. I talk about this a lot. If you are working night and day, and I used to think that that was something to brag about. It's so funny. Thank God for coaching because that helped me see there is no badge of honor for working 7 days a week. You don't get a gold star, nor do you make more money, Debbie, working 7 days a week. Saying that you work till 2:00 in the morning is not something you should brag about. I literally had to have coaching, somebody show me, hold up a mirror and say, nobody wants to work that hard. Why do you think you should work that hard? Right? So if you're already working that hard, if you're working every weekend, every night, there's something wrong. Okay. You put yourself in jail and it turns into a habit, right? You got to have a plan that will create what it is you want. What I find is most coaches get so burned out and so sick of it before they ever make a dollar. That's why they don't end up being success. So you have to have boundaries around your schedule. I just gave you a boundary around my schedule. I said, I truly, sincerely, I have this afternoon open and planned. I'm going to go meet my grandkids at 3:30. So I have the time open, but my boundary is I'm not going to wait till 3:00 for you to schedule with me. You have to schedule at 12:30. So you have to create a boundary that works. If you don't have that, that's your gap. All right. Without that picture, the whole picture that I just shared with you, you're going to quit the first time you hit a speed bump. This is the analogy with the roadmap, right? So you want to be able to sort of assessing is slowing down. Look what's happening. Thais built her business to over $100,000, well over 100. And then she was like, wait a minute, there's not just a speed bump. There's a pothole here. I can't do this. How do I assess where I'm at and realign to get on my journey the way that I want to? And honestly, our coaches that maybe thought that they were going to work with 20 private clients and now work with 5 private clients also have assessed and said, like, wait a minute, I'm not going to work with more than 5 clients. I'm going to do my business a different way. So the road to business success, honestly, you guys, it is full of so many unexpected changes. And I always say, and it's so true, and you could say this to your clients, when you don't know what you don't know what's coming. In your niche, that's why you can coach somebody. How they're going to go off track, right? Where there's going to be, for our weight loss coaches that talk about like, if you're tired at the end of the day. I'm guilty snacking, right? I'm guilty of snacking when I'm tired. It wasn't until somebody told me I was fueling my body. Like I was trying to keep myself awake instead of just going to bed. Okay. I know now what the road bumps are that you're going to run into. You do too. So the 12th step is becoming the CEO. I always say you're not a coach, you're the CEO of a company. This is such a mindset shift. I also talk, and I haven't talked today, about having a boutique, your boutique style coaching business. A boutique is not a fancy business. It's the store that you go to and you unlock the door and you walk in. If you do not think of your business as that, with regular hours, where you're paying rent and you have inventory and you have to make sales, you have to tell people, hey, come look at these dresses. I just got some new dresses in. I think you'd love it. If you're not doing that, you won't have a business. The same way as if you're just thinking, I just want to be a coach. And let me just say with so much love, I know you do. But there's no like fairy that's going to bring you the business. You can't just be a coach. You could go to work for somebody else, maybe, but those jobs are far and few between. The coach company that we certified with, they all thought, and there was thousands of people that certified there, they all thought that they were going to go work at that coaching school. They all thought that they were going to work for, coaches like me, but I have one coach that works for me, right? And she's the best coach that works for me. Those jobs are far and few between. We do have some coaches, and I know there's a coach on here that is a full-time employee for a company. She works full time as a coach. But again, those jobs, if you go look, on LinkedIn for jobs, those are pretty few and far between. So you're the CEO of your company. It is your company. You have to make decisions like that. What's the best decision for my company? Does this offer make sense for my company? You have to have discipline and determination. That is the final gap. If you're not treating your business like a business. By the way, some of that just starts with positioning with your family. My daughter called me yesterday, literally FaceTime me during the middle of the summit. I was like, what in the world? I had to send her a message last night. Like, have you lost your mind? You don't interrupt me during my coaching, during anything, right? Unless it's a 911 emergency. She wanted me to see her new glasses. That's I have to remind her again, my business is serious. Your glasses are not important right now. Okay. So you have to be disciplined. You have to be determined. You have to make decisions that are best for you and best for the life that you're creating, best for your business. Okay. So here's a real question. You've been through those 12 steps, and one of those steps I'm going to walk you through on that vision session. But how many of those now did you say like, uh-oh, I can see I have a lot of gaps? I mean, you should be honest with yourself. One of the key things that I tell people and that our clients tell us back is, I can see now I didn't have the whole process. I was trying to piece together what Amy Porterfield said about email. I was trying to do what Jenna Kutcher said about Pinterest. I was trying to do what what's his name on Shailene Johnson's Brock Johnson says about Instagram. All those things work independently, but if they don't work together, pretty much none of it works. That's why you got to start with your niche. Each one of those builds on itself. So again, you've seen the whole plan. Chances are you know what that is. The order does matter. Tice is going to walk through the mindset problems that you might face, the things that you're not even sure about what's happening. When the foundation is secure, I can tell you your business works. And I can tell you your business is fun. I call this project stage. Our clients that were in the summit, my goodness, they went through a big project. But now they have a talk. I don't use the word funnel very much, but they have a funnel, right? They have an opt-in. They have emails that go. We have somebody who's using their talk next month, I think she said, and the whole system's already set up. Okay. So there's projects. That's the project of building that, but then you use it forever. So when your foundation is secure, your business can work. Okay. When it's not, everything feels hard. I remember thinking I felt like I had to be so pushy and I had to be convincing and all that stuff. That's because your business is out of alignment. Your offer's out of alignment. Your pricing is out of alignment. You're out of integrity with your business, honestly. I talk to people about building a business for a lifetime, and it doesn't matter whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 or more, which we work with clients 66, 76, 77, 78. I'm not kidding. Every age this is the same story. You're building a business one time. The foundation that you set and what you learn is one time. So you can do this. Our speakers are not special, but of course they are. They actually are special, but so are you. The world needs what you have to offer. Honestly, it does. That's the strategy. I just showed you the roadmap. I will answer your questions. We have time for that. Knowing the steps and having somebody walk you through it, those are two different things for sure. I will tell you our next Design Live Thrive Summit is happening in September. Again, not here to sell you anything, but I think that we're going to have, I'll just tell you transparently, the first people to save their spots, which will happen next week, are our current speakers. I think we will have 4 spots available for the next summit in September if our current coaches come back. So my gift for you is that private visioning session. Tice will put that link in the chat. Unless you, and if you want a 12:30 session, you can have it. If somebody takes the 12:30, somebody can have 1:30 and somebody can have 2:30 today. I do have time available tomorrow too. I do not normally, just so we're clear, I do not work on Saturday and Sunday normally. This vision thing and the summit is it's a 2-time-a-year project. Okay. I do work, just so some of you guys know, I do work in the evening. I work on Monday evenings, but I love working on Monday evenings. So I will walk you through one step. I'll ask you a few questions and you will walk away with an action plan. I already had one of these last week with somebody who was new. 3 steps of what she had to do. We walked away with at the end. No pitch, no pressure, just clarity on your steps. To our clients, do not schedule one of these times. Tyson and I are meeting with you separately to go through what is next for you on your vision. So schedule a time, and please tell me what time you're meeting me in the chat. Any of the times, that would be great. You'll walk away with clarity. And your next step